Hello, hello. Hopefully this time it goes better. It's not a complete dumpster fire and disconnecting all the time. Hopefully. Yes, we are live. Hopefully this time. Yeah, just bad phone connection, I guess, in here. So I hope it goes better this time. Yeah, that was a huge train wreck, man. I'm hoping the next live stream in a month will go better than that. At least the start of it. Hopefully we'll end this one strong. I'm hoping at least. Yeah, I'm hoping to make these things hoping to make the live streams a regular thing. You know, we'll have 12 a year, I guess, unless we do some while we're at camp. But we just got back about 45 minutes ago from a trip. Um, the temperature there today is actually warm. It is about 80 degrees right now. It's about 10, 12, 10 or 12 degrees above normal. So yeah, it's a little warm. Coming down from Flagstaff down to here, it was yeah, it was a big difference. Probably about a I don't know 20, 30 degree difference, and you could feel it immediately just within that 2 hour drive. But the 20s, man, that's rough, dude. Where are you at, Kevin? To have it 20 degrees or in the 20s there. And the Cinders, Jimmy, man, that place is magical, dude. This is the second time I've been there. Imagine like pea-sized lava rock as far as the eye can see, and I mean, we were digging holes. You know, we are gonna dig a giant fire pit to have, and you could dig and dig and dig. Like you could dig 3, 4 feet into the ground and still have pea-sized lava rock everywhere. And there's pine trees growing everywhere inside of it. So it's different for sure. Oh, PA, huh? Yeah, I could understand the 20s, the have it being in the 20s. Yeah, when we were camping in the Cinders last night, it got down to about 19 degrees, and yeah, like bottles of water that we left out were frozen. One of the guys left out a Red Bull on the table. It was frozen over, actually frozen to the table. Uh, I mean, yeah, the condensation just from breathing while I was sleeping in the vehicle overnight, it froze on the windows. Like it was a cold one. Man, about 30 years ago, it's honestly I don't think much has changed. Like it's they have $100 hill, which is just probably about 1,000 to 1,500 foot hill that people always try to bomb up in their razors and their dirt bikes and quads and sand rails and all that, and not a lot make it. When we were there last night, there was not many people. I would say there's probably about like 4 or 5 like vans that people were living in, like the van life type vans. There was a guy trying to parasail, which was really awesome in the huge wide open area that everyone goes fast through. Some guy was trying to parasail, and it was pretty crazy. I got it on video, so it'll be in the video next weekend. We had 50 yesterday. Dude, I would kill for 50 degrees. Yeah, I mean, the the colder the better here. I can actually get to work on my vehicle. Because when it's 110, 115 out during the summer, I don't even want to touch the Jeep. It's yeah, it's terrible trying to work on that thing. You leave a tool out in the sun just for 2-3 minutes while you're doing something else, and you go to grab it and you burn your hand. Like it's bad. So you either try to work on whatever your project is in the morning or right as the sun's setting, because that's the only two times you could actually do it without, burning yourself or getting heat exhaustion. But yeah, it's practically the moon. Like it's crazy that within 2 hours you're in the desert, and yeah, within 2.5 3 hours you're up in the pine trees with the snow and in the cinders, and it looks like Mars. Like it's crazy. And I mean, there's pine trees there. Like I'm surprised pine trees are growing inside of that lava rock like that. You'd expect anything that would grow kind of tall would just fall over, because the lava rock is it's so like soft and easy to move. It's not like dirt. But I'm in East Mesa, so practically AJ. And yeah, we got an acre and a quarter up here, and it's nice and quiet. I mean, the only thing that you really hear is coyotes at night, just packs of coyotes howling, and it's peaceful to get work done. It was awesome though. The first night, our goal was to find snow to camp in. You guys will see in the video. We got into some deep snow, and a lot of people are saying there's not much snow in the state right now, which there really isn't. There's about a solid line from like Cholo through the rim above Payson and up to Flagstaff is about the patches of snow. And where we found snow in some spots, it was taller than our tires. Like my buddy in his 35s got buried in the snow, and it was up over his tire. So we had to winch him out, and then we finally found a camp spot, and it was a log that had snow on it, but a good chunk of the log was hanging out of the snow, and we just built the fire on top of that log. And surprisingly, half of the log that we built the fire on top of didn't burn because it was just frozen. A lot of the sticks, a lot of the logs that we were burning was just completely frozen. That was at least the first night. And then the second night, when we got to our camp in the cinders, yeah, we had a big fire, but it was, you know, it was crazy. You would walk 10, 15 feet away from the fire, and you would just start freezing. Like, you would be standing at the fire to stay warm, and your back would be ice cold. So you guys will see, we had a pretty big bonfire in the video, but all of the pine needles and everything, branches and everything, we scraped about 20, 25 feet away from the fire. So there was zero chance of starting another fire. Plus we had some water, and we had all of our shovels or anything, so if an ember got away from us, we could always put it out. But yeah, we needed a fire about that big, or it would have been an early night. It just went to bed. But what's up, M71A? You're thinking of going 3-link long arms yourself. What are your thoughts on the Iron Rock 3-link? Man, honestly, the install was pretty easy. The hardest part was cutting off the lower control arm mounts. I would say get a Sawzall with a really good blade to chop off the lower control arm mounts. Other than that, I mean, building the joints, you need a inch-pounds, which doesn't make sense, inch-pounds torque wrench. And you could get that at AutoZone for like $25, and that's to build the joints for all 3 control arms. Other than that, I mean, it was easy. I would think if you had a complete day, 6-7 hours, you could easily install it. You just got to be careful on the driver's side when you are cutting off the lower control arm mount. All of the brake lines and the hard lines for the brake lines and the gas line is on that side. So just be careful with that. And what I really like about the 3-piece cross member is as the 2 pieces for the control arms themselves that bolt to the unibody frame, and then as a center section for the for the transmission mount. And I mean, I drilled and tapped the third hole like it says in the instructions, but I ran about 4 1-inch little weld beads along the unibody frame just as a cheap insurance. So, you know, if there is any issues, if you have bad bolt holes, depending where you live, if you have rust or anything, um, you know, that those welds will hold, and it just gives you that peace of mind. But other than that, man, I've had zero issues. It rides amazing. Like going from short arms to that long arm, and then having the dual rate coil springs in the front, it was riding so smooth. It kind of felt like something was wrong. Like I had a loose track bar or something. Like how smooth it rode. But I double checked everything, and that's just the ride now. Like it almost rides like car smooth. So I suggest it. Like any of the 3 links, but I like the Iron Rock 3 link just because of how beefy the kit is. Just for the cross member and the 3 control arms, it's like over 100 pounds for the kit. And there's a couple times I have some big gashes, probably about foot long gashes on the control arms from dragging them over rocks, and all it does is just scratch off the powder coating. Just zero issues other than that. I would say keep the kit greased too, you know, just constantly, whenever you do an oil change and a tire rotation, grease your drive shafts and your the control arms for it, and those joints should last you a long time. What was Jimmy saying? He grew up by Mesa High. Everything south of Southern was farmland. Wow. Yeah, when my parents moved out here, I think they had their property since the late 70s, or maybe mid 80s. I don't really remember, but they said that all the roads in East Mesa and Apache Junction were just dirt roads. Main Street was dirt, everything. Jimmy, had you weighed your rig? I have not yet, man. I really want to. What I would like to do is just get it fully decked out, like we're going to go camping, and take it to a weigh station. Like we have a dump by us that has a giant pad to weigh your vehicle on with your garbage in it. Then you re-weigh it, so then you kind of, see how much you have to pay. And I would like to just pull the Jeep up there, maybe give them 10, 20 bucks and get a full weight on the front axle and on the rear axle, and then on the complete rig itself, just to get an idea. Because, I want to try to start losing weight on the rig, but, me and Natalie, we pack really minimal for our trips. We don't take a lot of extra stuff. We just take the bare minimum just to keep the weight down. Plus, in the back of the Cherokee, there's no room anyways. Like, once we have the fridge and our clothes and the tool and cooking tote back there, there's maybe some room for a couple small tables and our chairs, and then Bean stuff. And we got to have Bean ride in our lap, or he's starting to ride on the tote when we're going slow on the trail, or like driving through town slowly. But when we're on the highway, we try to keep him in our lap just so he's safer somewhat. But I would love to weigh the rig for sure. And those front bumpers, the front and rear bumper, the Smitty-built ones, they're thick. The whole bumper is 3/16 steel. So, you really can't do much unless you want to go with like a stubby bumper or an aluminum bumper. But there's really no companies that make aluminum bumpers for the Jeep, so I would have to make it myself. But some of the stubby bumpers, I like them a lot. I would like to go with the stubby bumper for the front. But then the header panel from where the headlights are on the front of the Jeep are exposed. So if you come off a rock, or if you hit something, that stuff's just breaking. So that's why I like the full width bumper, like our Smitty built bumper, so it just protects everything. And especially with us driving up north and everything, there's always elk and deer coming out into the road and stuff like that. I figured we would have more protection, if we hit an animal or a car or anything like that. No problem, man. You're on short arms with drop brackets and looking for a bit more travel. Yeah, you're gonna have all the travel you'll ever want with that Iron Rock kit. I'm looking actually to do once I get longer shocks for the 6-inch lift. I'm gonna do that, and then I'm gonna start looking at limit straps, just so I don't lose a coil spring if I flex out too bad, or the shock doesn't turn into a limit strap. That's, I mean, pretty much the track bar, your shocks. The track bar and your shocks are the limiting factor for that kit. Other than that, you could have flex for days depending on how long your shock is and your track bar. The kit's crazy. Like it was a total night and day difference on the Jeep. I honestly wish I would have went with the 3-link kit from the get-go when I lifted the Jeep 5-6 years ago. That's how much of a difference that Jeep or it was. And my bad, I keep drinking water with electrolytes in it. It was a long weekend. We had a lot of trail sodas, so I'm trying to drink a lot of water to help recover from it. I don't know. I don't really film too many of like the guys' trips when we go out, just because we get a little rowdy, and it could piss some people off. I think, just by the stupid crap that we do. So I don't know. I guess you guys would have to let me know when after I post this weekend's video. Then let me know if it's something you guys like or are into. It's kind of us just being ourselves and just doing stupid stuff. Jimmy, I get about 12 and a half a gallon. It could be different now because I was on 488 gears with 33s and now I'm on 35, so it's as close to stock gearing as possible. So it could be a little bit better gas mileage or a little worse. Since I just did all that, I have to see how it reacts with that. I think I'm just going to fill up the Jeep, get it right on the full line for the gas gauge, and I'm just going to drive it to a quarter tank and then see how many miles that was and then just multiply it by 4. But I would say about, I don't know, if I get 10 to 12 with that thing fully loaded down, I'm happy with that because of just all the gear that we're taking. And it's has 190 horsepower for the 4.0, so it's going to be a brick and it's going to use a lot of gas, so I'm not really expecting much. Yeah, Dan, that's why I put out the poll. I mean, I honestly, my team's not in the Super Bowl, so I don't really care much. I'll watch a little bit of it for the commercials, but yeah, I put out the poll, a week or so ago, and a lot of people voted to just keep the time with the live stream. So that's what I kind of stuck with. I mean, we can always live stream, during the week or next weekend if we don't have any plans, me and Natalie, just to go over stuff again and BS with more people. But I do drive like an old man too. Like, I mean, if I'm going 65, maybe 70 on the highway, and I'm in the very right lane, I'm that guy that gets past standing still, just because I know me, the wife, the dog are in it with all of our gear. I don't want to drive like a maniac, and put our lives in danger. I want to get to our destination and have a good time. That's kind of my philosophy with it. If it takes 10 more minutes to get there, but we get there safe, then I'm cool with it. I think you guys would be excited, or you guys would like the video that I'll have in a few days on everything. I really it didn't really less than advertise. Honestly, man, I haven't had that problem. Like I had my 4.5 inch coils on the front, 1/2 inches, and then doing the 6 inches or the 6 inch coils. I haven't had a problem with it. I think it is 6 inches of lift, like because I had the same concerns. Like these are TJ coils. TJs are lighter, or TJ LJs are lighter in the front end. So I figured, toss them underneath an XJ with the head. It's heavier for some reason. It should pull that front end down at least an inch. And I mean, I called the metal cloak guy, whoever their customer service guy was, and I talked their ear off. I probably had about 10 questions about the coils, and he said that they designed the metal cloak coils to make up for like the weight in the front. So if you're running, if you're just running a stock front bumper, it might be a little bit over 6 inches because they designed the coils to accommodate for a steel front bumper and the winch and everything and give you 6 inches with all of that weight in the front. And yeah, honestly, man, yeah, if it depends. If it's like like 2 lane highway, I'm going 65, 70. But if it's like the freeway and main interstate, I'm going about 55, 60. Just because I don't like being next to big rigs or 18 dude. Be Give us updates in the chat. Major weakness. So what's the score? It's Rams scored. Honestly, the Bengals beat my team in the first round. Unfortunately, I'm a Vegas Raiders fan. I've been a fan of them for a long time now. I just liked how gritty and just like the attitude of them back in the day. So that's what drew me to the team a long time ago, and I've been a fan ever since. So I was just happy they made the playoffs this year with everything that happened, and I'm surprised the Bengals made it. Honestly, I hope they win, but I mean, I don't really care who wins. I guess I'm more I more watch it for the commercials and to have a few trail sodas and food and everything, just the finger food and just pig out while watching the game. Yeah, I think I'd rather be live streaming talking to all you guys instead of watching the game right now. But I will only live stream for about an hour just so we can all at least catch the second, third, and fourth quarter, or at least from halftime on, so you don't miss the whole game. Jimmy, have you did the Durango alternator swap? I haven't merged it up. Um, it's a DB electrical battery, or it was about 145 bucks for the alternator, but in the description it says that it at 6,000 RPMs it pushes up to 194 amps, and, and honestly, it's been amazing. Oh, we're frozen again. No. Hmm. Yeah, I got that DB electric alternator from K Suspension, and I haven't had a problem since. Awesome. That's strange. I wonder why it's choppy for some people and good for others. That's really strange. Hmm. I don't know. I'm just trying to work out our connection and everything like that, so future live streams can be better, but it's just everything's so hit or miss nowadays. But not to completely change the subject, that alternator's been great. The only problem I had was the bracket that holds the alternator. You gotta get in there with a grinder and take off some of the metal because it is a bigger alternator. So honestly, it might be just a Durango, like a high output Durango alternator or something. But I mean, it's been great. I haven't had any problems. I want to say I've had it for a few years now, and I mean, I've driven through mud, you know, tons of snow, like everything, you know, it should have crapped out on me by now just by all the terrain and all the dust and everything and cleaning the engine bay with a pressure washer and everything. And yeah, I haven't had a problem with it. This is super strange though why we're having connection issues. I know the last live stream was a lot, about 80% of it was clear, and then right at the end I started having issues. But now it's like halfway through this one. I'm having problems. You had to do a little grinding on. Yeah, it might be the one they might be selling with K suspension might be a Durango alternator then, because I had to do some grinding on the bracket for it. So it might be just a high output one that they're just advertising for Cherokees on their website. But that does make sense because every other option that I tried looking at was either way more expensive for a Cherokee alternator or it didn't have as much output. So I guess, yeah, a bigger alternator from a Durango would be a great swap if you just have to trim the bracket a little bit. What's your preferred trail soda? Um, Honestly, man, I'm not extremely picky. Like this last weekend, we had just a couple days ago, we had banquets, Coors Banquet and Budweiser, and I mean, I don't know. I'm not like a super cheap beer guy. Like I do like some like Blue Moons and you know just basic beers like that. I can't really drink IPAs or anything. They give me you know heartburn and just jack me all up. I just like something to sip while you're BSing with people around the campfire. But what do you prefer, man? Have you upgraded your stock injectors? I have not, dude. I have a video planned in the future. It's gonna take a lot of stuff to get prepped for it. I kind of just want to redo my exhaust system, like my exhaust manifold, because the stock one has cracks in it. So I have a kind of bad exhaust leak. But the header I want or the manifold I want is a little expensive, so I'm kind of just holding off on that for now. But I want to do all that at the same time. I want to do exhaust manifold, get like an intake from a 97 through '01 because I guess it's a little bit better than the 96 and down intakes. At least that's what I've heard. I want to get like a 62 millimeter throttle body. I want to get upgraded injectors, the 10 hole ones from like the Dodge Neon or the Ford or whatever like that they sell. And then just kind of upgrade all of that since I already have the upgraded cowl intake. And I think it'll just help with, you know, making a little bit more power out of the 4.0. And my ultimate goal, I'll let you guys in on this. I already did, you know, the 3 link and I've done everything to it. Kind of on the timeline since I'm on 35s and 6 inches now is I want to get an upgraded front axle. I want to get the G2 G44 for the front, and then after that I want to do like suspension and then a new motor. So to just go back to the injectors and everything, I think once I get a new motor, I'll do the new you know exhaust manifold and intake and throttle body and injectors all at the same time on the new motor, just so you know I get as much power out of that 4.0 as possible without going with a stroker, just because the price between a 4.0 crate motor and a 4.7 stroker, it's like double the price. And I mean you don't get much more horsepower and much more torque for double the price. So I figure if I just upgrade everything around it, it'll be it'll make up that difference without spending twice the cash. It's a long answer to your question, man, but thank you. Blue Moon with a little orange juice. That that sounds pretty good, man. Honestly, I like Blue Moon a lot, that and Shock Top. And yeah, I just put an orange slice in it, but maybe a little orange juice would be good. I would like to try that. And how many miles are is on my Cherokee? I'm at 197,000 and a little bit over 500, so 197.5. I figured hopefully I get like my axle swap and the suspension and all that done by, I'm hoping by like 220, 225, like to set a timeline for it, which I probably won't hit, but that's my goal, is to get those things done. So then I'll just have like 220 or 225 on the body and then toss a brand new motor in there. And I did think, me and my buddy were talking about LS swaps, but honestly, I like the platform, just the 4.0. Like, I mean, I've done so much work to the Jeep that, it's something I'm familiar with. I don't want to really, start messing with other harnesses and then do a different radiator possibly and like all kinds of different stuff like that and just completely change it up. I think if I LS'd anything, I would want to just get a whole new rig, like maybe like a YJ or a TJ or an LJ like you got, Jimmy. And then at least I have a frame that I could put motor mounts and drop the motor in. And, I'm not trying to mess with a unibody Cherokee to do that, even though I love the look of the Cherokee. Like if my ultimate goal would be like a crawler with an LS on like tons and 40s, which hopefully if I could save up the cash and one goes up for sale, I would just buy one straight out instead of building one. But I think my plan for the Cherokee we have now, um, I'm just gonna kind of keep it how it is, just for trips, because it is pretty comfortable with me doing the new PRP seats and the sound deadener and everything like that. Um, so I think I am just gonna keep that how it is. Just keep 35s and the 3 link and everything and 6 inches as the maximum for the Cherokee we have now, just so it'll be more of like a built for everything adventure rig. And then hopefully in the future, if the Cherokee is done, which they're never done, I would like to get another rig to start building on. A Curry 44 would be awesome. I like how they look. The G2 is a good price, man. I mean, you could get one built for fully, with a locker, your gear ratio in a crate to your house for like 4,000, and all you have to do, it's already, everything is already set up. All you do is throw in gear oil, do the 500-mile break-in, drain the oil, throw in new oil, and you're good. The only thing I don't like about those G or yeah the G2 44s is it doesn't the diff cover isn't a standard bolt pattern. Like you have to use their aluminum diff cover. So that's the only downside, but I mean, I guess if you bash the diff cover hard enough on something, you could crack it, but yeah, it uses a dedicated front diff cover. That's the only thing I don't like. Other than that, I would just like to, for the price, I think it's a great axle from everything I've heard. What's up, Brian? How hard was it to build the 4.7? I mean, if I could get a block and slowly build it, and get I think you gotta get like a 4.2 liter cam, or to toss in there. I wouldn't mind doing that and just slowly build one over the course of a year or two. But just the ease of getting another 4.0 and swapping it in a weekend to another brand new motor would be amazing. M71A. If you had the chance, would you 4-link the rear? Honestly, I would. It would just take a lot of fab work to, because I would want to run coilovers then all around, like you know, if money wasn't an object, I would get like some King coilovers or some Fox coilovers, front and rear. Build the buckets. Cut out the. I'm like looking off, like trying to imagine it. Cut the fender wells and do like shock towers in the back, and then run like a strut between it to keep it strong, and then just shave the axle other than the rear axle other than the truss that I put on, and make my mounts for the coilovers and everything on there. And I would run. I looked at that Iron Rock 4 link for the rear. It's like right around $2,000, but it's everything. And I did talk to him because I am interested in it for possibly in the future. Like maybe. I don't know. Everything's up in the air, but possibly in the future because they provide a truss and I have that Barnes truss. So I was getting measurements and everything since you have to weld the two upper control arm mounts to the truss. And I think if I did some grinding and made it completely flat and got rid of that pinion support, or I added that pinion support to the upper control arm mount, it would work. So I don't know. That might be in the cards way in the future after the motor and everything. If we do, let's say, get like a brand new, you know, trail rig or, you know, whatever, like a JL or I don't know, something like that. Man, you guys have some good questions. I love this. Yeah, if money wasn't an object, dude, the R28 from Cummins would be awesome. Just, you know, kind of roll coal in out of a Cherokee. That would be sweet. And the torque would be nuts, like compared to the 4.0. And if I could use the AW4 with that R28, I mean, and I had 10 grand, that wouldn't be a bad option. But yeah, if money wasn't an option, that would be awesome to do. But I mean, if Cummins, you know, if Cummins is one of the few people watching this live stream, toss me a motor, you guys. Come on now. Have you been to Mount Top Mud Bogs in Oregon? Dude, I want to go to Oregon. Natalie has some family there, right around the Corvallis area. And I don't know where Mount Top is in Oregon. Hopefully they're by Corvallis. But we want to plan out like a big trip, like a 2 week trip, and just start in Arizona and make our way in the Jeep up to Washington to visit some more of her family, and then make it over to Oregon and completely explore the forest and, well, explore as much of it as possible. And then, you know, pop on over and start heading home and make it like a 2 week trip. But I wouldn't mind, man. I'm not the biggest fan of mud, but I mean, if you're there, you know, if it's there, I would love to check it out and maybe get the Jeep stuck. Is the G2 American made? I don't know, man. I mean, my guess for a $4,000 complete axle is maybe some parts are made here and some aren't. That's the only thing I can really think of. I mean, it'd be cool if they are. I guess I would have to do some research on that. But I know like the Curry and the Dynatrack and all that are American made. That's what I do like about those. But you know, they want 2 grand for the Dynatrack housing or the Curry housing, when I mean a little bit more than that. You have a complete axle from G2, or it's a little bit more than 2 grand, I think, from the Curry and the Dynatrack housing. And not too bad. Get a 4.2 crank and use the 4.0 rods. Then you need custom pistons, but you could do the 4.6 with a 4.2 crank and 4.2 rods with 4.0 pistons. Honestly, man, that wouldn't be that bad, because yeah, it's already, you know, the pistons are already there. You just get some different like high performance pistons, and if you did it in pieces, then yeah, you could buy all the pieces you want then. So you could build it how you want, you know, with all those parts. I think that would be good. I think if I had more room on my property, or on the property I'm on, I wouldn't mind just getting a 4.0 block and just tossing it onto an engine stand and slowly building it. But Man, I got so many projects. I got a comment on the trailer video the other day asking me if there was any progress, and honestly, I've been so involved with building on the Jeep that I kind of put the trailer to the side, unfortunately. It's just, I mean, I'm one guy and there's so many different projects, man. It's rough. The miles per gallon would double. Yeah, with the R28 Cummins, that would be sweet. The only downside I think to be having diesel and like all my buddies are running gas motors would just be if we were on a trail and I got low on gas. But obviously, I could have extra gas cans and stuff like that. But I guess that would be the one downside to that. But it would be so awesome popping the hood and, having all that red from the Cummins underneath the hood and everything. I think the valve covers and stuff like that are red on them. Bengals field goal 7-3. Awesome, man. Thank you, Major. And they are mostly made in the U.S. That's kind of what I figured. I wonder what's made overseas. Maybe like the ball joints and the seals and like the bearings and like the little stuff, or because I mean casting those housings overseas, that'd get expensive to ship those here. So maybe the housings are made here, but like all of the little parts are made overseas and then just shipped here and they assemble it. Because I did look, there's about a 4 to 6 week lead time on those G2s. So I mean, if I happen to have the money and order one, it's still like, yeah, it's still a month and a half wait. But yeah, I don't know. I think to do more research, and if I ever go with that in the video, if I make a video and go with that option, I think I would do my research so I could lay it out to everybody first, like what parts are made overseas, what's made here, just to be more in depth with it to help either make people's minds or not. Mountaintop mug bogs in Skio or Co, Oregon. That would be great, man. I'd love to go out there with just a bunch of trail sodas, man, and just watch just watch what happens. Just kind of people watch and just see the chaos. I know we used to have mud bogs out here about 20-25 miles from the house, and dudes would get stuck like up to the axles or the frame rails, and they would have a tractor pull them out, but they weren't gentle with it. Like they would, if you're running like let's say a square body Chevy and you have the leafs in the front, they would just hook the hook around the leaf spring in the front and just pull you out. And like, so I mean, it would damage your rig. Like, so that's the only thing. What like, I wouldn't take my Jeep through that just because they don't care. They just want to get you out there to get the next guy through because they probably have 50 people for the night to go through there. So I wouldn't want to have the damage and then just the months of work cleaning all of the mud out from underneath the Jeep would be terrible. It would be fun to go and watch, man. Um, Brian, if you happen to have like an Instagram or anything, follow us on Instagram. So when we do plan this trip, if since it sounds like you're in Oregon, um, maybe we can meet up and chill and go to those mud bogs. I don't really know the timeline on when we'll go, but that's definitely a goal of ours, is to go there. And what's cool too is the TNM metal fab, the inner unibody stiffeners and the steering box stiffeners that I did on the Jeep. The guy is in Oregon also, so I'd like to meet him. He seems like a really cool dude. Have I had any experience with short arm drop brackets? I have not. Honestly, I thought about going with those just to hold off doing a long arm just a little bit longer. I heard it improves the geometry of the short arms just to make a somewhat smoother ride. But it kind of depends on how high your lift is. How much lift do you got on your rig, Jose? I would you know, it depends. If you're running like 6 inches of lift or, you know, something like mine now, just go with the long arm, dude. But if you're like, you know, anything below, you know, 4.5 inches, I think the drop brackets would make a big difference. I don't have a ton of experience, so I can't really vouch for them too much, but everything I've heard, they've been fine. I, you know, nobody has had issues with them from my knowledge. Build a 4.0 with a small intercooled supercharger. That would be cool. I think I don't know. I I don't know if you would have to cut the hood to make up for the pulley on the supercharger. Maybe if I got a new hood and just did like a hood scoop right there to help protect the pulley, so then it could still pull in air while I'm driving and on the trail, but it makes up the room to have that pulley, and then once you look through that gap in the hood, you could see the pulley while it's idling. I think that would be pretty awesome. I did see a guy a while ago. He had a supercharger on his Cherokee. I guess I would just want to build up the internals first, and then toss the supercharger on it, just so you know I don't put 20,000 miles on a stock 4.0 and I'm already having major issues. Because I already know with the supercharger, I'm gonna want to hear the whine. So I'm gonna be, you know, I'm gonna have my foot in that thing just to hear the whine. So I'm gonna want to build up that motor some to handle that supercharger for longer, or for the life I have all that stuff. But that's a good idea, man. The gears, axles, etc. China. Yeah. I think yeah, I think it would be, you know, most gears are Chinese. Honestly, Curry and Dynatrack have Chinese parts. It's just kind of how it goes, man. Like you know, that crap's cheaper over there. So they, you know, they want to make all the smaller parts that are easy to ship, bring them over here, and then just forge the housings here and just toss it all together. You know, as long as you know the chromoly shafts and the housings aren't made there, I guess you don't really have a choice with most of that stuff, because unfortunately the price to build, you know, 100% American made axle like that is probably a lot more. Like you would have to probably source it out and build it yourself in your garage or whatever. So it's kind of the, you know, the way it goes, man, unfortunately. So you have a 4.5 inch lift. I would say if your ultimate goal is long arm, dude, and you just can't afford it yet, or you don't want to do that work yet, I would toss in drop brackets. It's cheap. It's cheap insurance. I mean, I don't really know. I know Rough Country makes drop brackets, but I don't really know any other companies other than that makes drop brackets. So, I mean, maybe 150, $200, whatever they cost, to have you, you know, have a better quality ride for a while until you go with a long arm. Go with it, man. You could always sell them too. I know once I went up to 6 inches, within 2 days, I sold my 4.5 inch coils and the 33s. Then 2 days, I mean, I posted them up on OfferUp and Facebook, and I had people just hitting me up like crazy to buy them. So I mean, you could always sell those parts to make up for it too. What else do we got? Yeah, drop brackets. Yeah, exactly, Kevin. Drop brackets on a 4.5, and it made a smoother ride when it hit bumps. Yeah, honestly, I was on the 4.5 inches with no drop brackets on my short arms, and speed bumps and like bumps in the road. It wasn't just like a gradual bump, you know, it was like a jolt. Like you could feel it bad. So I think drop brackets would make a noticeable difference, and it's, I mean, it would be easy to do compared to, you know, spending the time to do a long arm in the meantime. I had an intercooled Avenger supercharger on a TJ. I got better mileage when I didn't stomp on it. Huh. I guess that does make sense, yeah. I don't know, man. That would be, I guess if money wasn't an option, I think that would be awesome. But at the same time, yeah, just the time too. Time and money is the issue. I would love to do something drastic though. Do like an R28, or yeah, do like a 4.7 stroker, or even yeah, a supercharged 4.0, or I mean even LS it. Junkyard LSs, you could get one with decent miles, and then get the whole harness too. You get it for 1,000, 1,500 bucks all day long. Oh, these Jeeps are never done. Like it's you're just kidding yourself if you say they're done. I have so many things I want to do to it. Like yeah, I mean I think 6 inches is where I'm gonna stop for lift and 35s. Now it's just kind of upgrading the stuff around it, since I still have the Dana 30 in the front. Um, having the Dana 30, not 35, having the Dana 30 in the front. I'm kind of unsure with 35s on the trail in case we get into some nasty rocks and stuff. I don't want to break an axle shaft or anything like that. But I think I should be fine for the time being until I do pick up the 44. Then other than that, I mean, it's just quality of ride stuff I want to do. I want to do the vinyl flooring inside. I want to do suspension or new shocks to because the Foxes I have on there are about 5 or 6 years old. So I would want to do just a lot of stuff like that, and then look at motor options. It was 4,500. You could buy yeah, you could buy a lot of gas with 4,500 bucks for sure. And how does your Jeep drive with the 35s compared to the 33s? Honestly, man, they rode better just because they were newer tires. I went with the same exact tire, just to let you guys know. I went with the KM3. I love them. I mean, honestly, on the road, you get like a small amount of road or tire noise from the mud terrain, but I mean, they're amazing off road. They're my favorite tire I've ever had on that rig. And I'd say the only difference with going up an inch and a half more in lift and 2 inches in tire is you sit higher. So like it kind of feels different while driving it, just because you get a little bit more body roll and stuff like that. But not a huge difference. I do like the ground clearance though, because with the 33s and the 488 in the rear, I was scraping every rock on trails. So I'm just hoping that inch or two of ground clearance will make a bigger difference. Plus, once you air down to 10, 15 psi, the contact patch of the larger tire will give you more traction. But yeah, that's I mean, not really much of a difference, but it does look cooler. And a majority of having a Jeep and overlanding is looking cool, unfortunately. That would be awesome too to go wheeling, man. You're up in Sholo. We also, I mean, it's probably frozen up there in Sholo, but I would love to do some snow camping up there. If you happen to have an Instagram, man, and you're not following us yet, give us a follow and hit me up. I would love to plan a trip to drive up there. It's only 3 hours away. I mean that's worth it if you know some awesome trails or some awesome wheeling up there. I could if you're down, I could bring some buddies, some trail sodas, and we could hit some trails and tear it up. I think that would be great. But we are getting close. I want to say about 5 to 10 more minutes, and we'll cut off the live stream. So if anybody wants to watch the game or anything, uh, you guys could get to it. So I don't interrupt you for too long. All right, Kevin, you said, how did the acceleration and braking change with the heavier tire? Was it minimal difference? I did some research, and the 33-inch KM3 12 and a half 15 is 65 pounds of tire, and the 35 was 70 pounds. So it was only 5 pounds difference per tire. But honestly, I mean, since I geared the Jeep for 488s, because I knew at the time when gearing it, my ultimate goal was 35s. Um, I mean, it's as close to stock gearing as possible now with the 488s and 35s. So not really much of a difference braking. It depends your brakes. Like I have disc brakes all around, and I kind of upgraded the pads and the rotors. So I don't honestly feel much of a difference, just because it's 5 pounds difference per tire. I mean, if you're going like from a, I don't really know a lighter weight tire, but if it was like a 10, 15 pound difference per tire and you're still running drums in the rear, and you haven't done any brake upgrades, I could see a difference running a heavier tire. But how I have everything set up now, it's very minimal. I mean, honestly, if your brakes are great and you have the gearing for it, 35s is just fine. Like you won't have an issue with, you shouldn't feel much acceleration difference and much braking difference. The Gulf Coast, yeah. Not many rocks, huh? More of is it just more mud and flat land? Like I guess yeah, it's here it's crazy. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the rotating mass. I mean, realistically, I don't feel the difference. Like in mine at least. It's not much of a difference at all. I did instead of running tire weights, I did run tire beads in there. And there's not, I mean, you kind of feel a difference with the beads because it's not perfectly balanced because the beads go where they need to in the tire. But I'd say that's the only difference. If I got like sticky weights or the clamp on weights for the outside of the wheel, it would feel just like a 33. I just like how much higher it sits and how much bigger the tire is in the wheel well. It looks really good. Like I can't wait for you guys to see it in the video. I should have that out in the next 2-3 days. Flat as a pool table, yeah, man. That stinks. How far do you have to drive to get to good wheeling? Do you gotta drive a few hours, or is it relatively close? Because that would stink having to drive a long ways to get to where you want to wheel or explore. And what do you got in the rear, Kevin? Do you got the 8 1/4 or the Dana 35 if it's an older Cherokee, or even an 8 but with the drums? I know I got lucky. My 8 I bought, the guy that I bought it from already built it up some. So it already had discs in the rear. He replaced all of the bearings, all of the seals in it because he was going to build up a 44 for the front and an 8 in the rear for a crawler and run 37s on it. And then he changed his mind at the last minute and he decided to go full 1 tons and 40s. So I got lucky at the time I bought my 8. Oh, you got the 8 1/4. That's what I had before I did the axle swap. And I mean, honestly, they say if you do some building on that 8 1/4 and you do discs and I think C clip elimination, they might have a C clip for the rear of those, and then chromoly shafts. They say it's like somewhat comparable to 44, depending on how Dana 44, depending on how you drive. Um, but I mean, yeah, they have those disc brake conversion kits, and it would be awesome, like just throwing all that disc or all that drum brake stuff off and some discs on there. I did the company I bought my brakes from is Black Magic Brakes. They might have Chrysler 8 1/4 kits for pads and rotors. And what sold me on them was a guy. He had a TJ on 35s and he was driving going about 40, and he mashed the brake pedal and all four tires locked up and he went to a skidding stop and he had those pads and rotors. And I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm buying those for the 8.8 and the Dana 30. But I think they do have Chrysler 8 1/4 kits also, and Dana 30 and 48.8 kits just for pads and rotors. And it wasn't insanely expensive for all of that. I want to say nearly 6 hours to drive. Oh man, that's rough, Jimmy. Like I am not a fan of mud either. Just because I'm always working on the Jeep, laying on my back, wrenching on it, and catching mud to the eyes stinks. It could ruin your whole day if it gets in there bad enough. But yeah, I don't know. I'm more of rocks and dry land. No mud. But if I don't have a choice on the trail and I gotta drive through mud, then gotta just kind of suck it up and do it. But I did talk to the guy with Black Magic Brakes. Also, I just called him and just BS with him for a little bit. This was years ago when I did all these brakes before the channel and everything. And the guy was really cool, and they're not a bad deal. Hopefully, they don't have a crazy lead time or anything, because I think it's just maybe a couple guys running the company or one guy running the company. Lane Johnson as a kid that upgrades. Hmm. That would be awesome having four piston calipers just so it's just the braking power, especially with all the weight that, the rig is with bumpers and all the gear and the larger tires and heavier wheels over stock. And, if you have a rooftop tent or you're running a fridge or extra water, or, you could easily add with bumpers and everything, you could add 1,000 pounds to your rig, and you need to upgrade your brakes for that, because I mean you don't want that to fail on a downhill for an obstacle or on the highway needing to stop fast. Like, that could be deadly. That is not fun right there. So I think that's a must. I mean, realistically, like, if I got a stock Cherokee again, I would do right off the bat, I would do upgraded steering, because the uh the steering on them are junk. I would do brakes, and then I would immediately do gears. Just if I was going to go with the larger tire size. Oh, okay. He owns Black Magic. That's good to know. Hmm. I wonder how much that four piston kit is, and I wonder if they have it just for the Dana 30 or for the 488 and the Dana 30. That wouldn't be a bad upgrade depending on how expensive they are. But I mean, four piston calipers are going to be a little pricey, but I wouldn't mind doing it in the future just to have that extra braking power, especially having the 35s and all the weight on the vehicle. And I was between the power stop brakes with the drilled and slotted rotors and the Black Magic setup. And I mean, just the watching that video, I was like, oh man, like I got to try these. Worst case scenario, I'll run them for a while, and then I'll get the power stop ones to compare. And it's been, I want to say, a couple of years now, and I haven't had any issue with the Black Magic brakes. I think I'm gonna do some research though and look at those four piston calipers. I think that would make for a good video, because you don't really see too many videos of people, going into depth on braking and stuff like that for rigs. They just want to do, like, the sexy stuff, like, oh, bigger lift, bigger tires, we got this super cool thing. Like, I mean, braking is important no matter how boring it is. You gotta be able to stop the vehicle. You say he designed the Curry steering? Wow, that's awesome. Hmm. I know I still have his stickers and his business card on my workbench up there. Black Magic Super 16. I'll do that, Jimmy. But any last questions, you guys? I'll be on here for a few more minutes. We're already already over an hour in the live stream. I think it was like an hour and 17 minutes was the last one. This one will be like an hour and 10 minutes. I love just BSing with all you guys. I think it's a better way to talk to you guys other than just comments on the videos. Even though you should still comment on the videos. Oh, that's great. That's for the Dana 30 and the 44. I wonder if I ever went with the G2 housing. I think it should work because you still use the Dana 30 knuckles and everything. What's up, Brian? How are you, man? Off-grid backcountry adventures. You guys should subscribe to his channel. His videos are legit. One day I would like me, Natalie, and Bean to have like his setup, like off-grid property, everything like that. I think it would be great. And Brian, I've been your posts on Patreon. I've been looking at those properties you've been posting. Oh, it's tempting, dude. I'm glad you're doing good, man. I'm glad you're doing good. I'm gonna message you soon. I'll message you tonight, and we need to link up. I mean, we don't have to do a video or anything. We could just hang out if you want. That'd be great to just go explore and do some wheeling and camping and everything. Oh, that's great that those fit the G2. He used to own Savvy Off-Road. I gotta look up that place too, Savvy Off-Road. That's good to know. Yeah, Savvy Off-Road with the Super 16 and the Black Magic brakes. Man, I'm gonna be doing a lot of research. You guys are gonna cost me way too much money, I swear. Natalie's gonna kill me if she sees this, just because of all the stuff that I'll probably end up buying for the Jeep. But we'll give it another minute or two, and I'll jump off here and I'll do all that research and start editing up that video to show you guys all of the stuff that I did to the Jeep to get it up to 6 inches of lift. Has new outer knuckles, master cylinder, rotor. Well, maybe the larger caliper bolting on there. So that does make sense. And then you need the master cylinder to push more fluid to those larger rotors. So, I mean, yeah, that's if that box shows up at the front door, that might be my last video. Natalie would kill me. And it is better to ask for forgiveness than permission. I mean, Natalie drives the Jeep on the trails. Like, she's not the one filming, doing all the flexing and all the downhill and all the, the cool wheeling stuff. When it's me, her, and the dog, she is the one driving. I'll drive on the highway to get us to the trail, just because I gotta drive it somewhat. Then once I air down the rig, and she jumps in it. That's all her. Most of that wheeling, I want to say about 95% of it, other than the guys trips, is Natalie. She what's funny is, I'll give you guys a little insight. While I'm filming her, I'm like guiding her, like, passenger, driver, or like brake, or more gas. Just I'm trying to guide her and film it, just so I don't know. She's a good driver off road. She definitely is killing it. I would like to get her own rig, not to take two vehicle variety to the channel. And then, if we want to build hers insane, like the LS and tons and 40s and all that, but still make it so we could get to a trail or the trail, that would be awesome. Then, we could just show her getting super flexy on rocks and just wheeling like crazy. Jimmy, if you can ever move back, man, or visit, it would be awesome to get a trail soda and hang out, or even go wheeling or something. That stinks that you're in the Gulf Coast. I mean, other than, being at 115 degrees in Arizona during the summer, I mean, you get that for about 2 to 3 months, but you can't beat it. This state is just next level. Like with just all of the different terrain and everything that's available. Like the amount of forest roads in this state, I could spend my entire life exploring. Like without even leaving Arizona. That's how many there are. I mean, just thousands of miles of forest road in the state. BLM land, national forest land. Like they close some roads during the winter, but other than that, like it's open to you. And some of them you got to get permits, but it's cheap. And just the amount of exploring and the stuff like finding Indian ruins and old homesteads and old cabins. I mean, you guys have seen that, like just some of the Indian ruins that we've shown on the channel, those old cabins. Like it's out there if you do the research and look for it. Like there, you have a lifetime of stuff to look for in this state, let alone everywhere else across the country or the Southwest U.S. Yeah, the fire. Are you talking about the fire season in Arizona? Yeah, that's the one downside to Arizona is the fire season. It I mean it stinks showing up to camp and you can't have a fire to relax and help you unwind. Like you show up and then you just set up some lights to get some area lighting to relax for a minute. And plus, if you have a fire, it keeps the mosquitoes away and different animals and stuff like that, showing that your presence is there. And when you can't have a fire, I mean it takes an element of the camping experience away that you can't. I'm in the East Valley and the oh man, I mean, Texas, I heard there's not a lot of public land there to explore. Like, I guess that makes sense. You have to drive 6 hours to, and it is flat. You could watch your dog run away for 2 days. How flat that place is. So that does stink. I heard that they are opening a off-road adventure park in Texas. I mean, you have to pay to go in there, but it's supposedly so big that you could easily spend 2 days in there and be fine. That's awesome. West Valley surprise area. That's not that bad. I mean, are you kind of, I guess maybe I'm not thinking of it correct, but are you somewhat close to the 17? Because I mean, we take the I-17 north every once in a while if we want to hit Prescott or Sedona. Majority of the time, we try to stay on the Lake Mary Highway, leaving the rim above Payson to go up to Flagstaff and stuff like that because the amount of traffic on that Lake Mary Highway is next to none compared to the 17. And you don't have to deal with big rigs and stuff like that. There's a nice off-road park near Austin. Nice. Is it like more of like just like mudding? Like I guess what's the geography of the off-road park? Is there rocks logging or like what's the setup? Is it deserty? You probably got to pay to get in there. Hopefully it's not like a daily fee. You could just like pay the one fee for the weekend or whatever. There are rocks, hills, etc. Nice. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, maybe I don't know. I want to explore all these states, but you got to have a job to fund all of this stuff, I can't just up and leave and go to Oregon and Washington and Montana and Idaho and Utah and Texas and New Mexico and you got to have a way to pay for that. But I have all these places in mind. Hopefully one day me and Natalie can explore all that and visit like those off-road parks or go up to the mud park in Oregon and or the mud bogs. That would be great. Yeah, that's true. They have a designated camping and stuff like that, I'm guessing. So you don't really get the full experience, I guess, of being in the wilderness. It's kind of like a artificial wilderness. So, but I think we're gonna call it here, guys. I'll give it another minute. This will be the longest video to date. It'll be an hour and 18 minutes. It'll already be longer than the last live stream. But yeah, any last questions? I'll answer them. If not, I will jump off here and we can catch the rest of the game, and then I'll get that video started for you guys. So we'll give it another minute or so. Hey, not a problem, Jimmy. I hope you have a good one, dude. If I might make a post in the next few days if people are more interested in more live streams, I'll do that. I wouldn't mind doing 2, 3 videos a month and a couple live streams just to BS with everybody. And yeah, thanks, dude. The Black Magic Super 16. I will look into that, man. Thank you very much, you guys, for watching. I will catch you guys in the next live stream. I will have a video out soon for you guys. Probably, hopefully, 2 videos in the next week or so that you guys can watch. And I hope you guys have a good one, a good night, and let's have a good start to the week. Bye, you guys.